Hey there, it's Tara from 1029 Now. Just wanted to give you a little proof that I have the coolest job on the planet and my coworkers. This is why they love me. Now this is my friend Flynn from Scarborough Renaissance Festival. He's the sommelier there.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, I'm a certified sommelier from the Court of the Master Sommeliers, which is a very fancy way of saying I'm a big wine geek.
Which means he knows everything about wine and brings us the best wine ever. So if you don't know this, Scarborough Renaissance Festival has wine tastings every single weekend. So I'm thinking you get a sitter, grab all your girlfriends, head out to Waxahachie, and Flynn is going to tell us the experience that we will have when we go there. And we may or may not have already had some wine.
We may or may not. So every weekend, Tara, I bring out all of my friends to our wonderful vinery out next to the joustings field. We have an hour-long show featuring 6 different wines. We include a fruit and cheese tray at your table, and you get to listen to me talk about wine for an hour. Every week it's something different. Wines of Italy, wines of Germany, wines of Spain, and wines of France. We go all over the world and bring the best back to you for our wonderful Scarborough Renaissance Festival. We try wine, we learn about how wine tastes. Whether you're brand new to wine or you've been drinking wine for years, you'll have an amazing time. You laugh a lot, you learn a lot, you drink a lot.
What's the best question someone asks you when they come for the wine tasting? Like, what's the question that you got that you were like, I love when somebody asks me that question?
I love it when people ask me about service temperature of wine.
Okay.
That's one of the things that we often get wrong. We serve our white wines too cold, our red wines too warm. And it's a great educational experience that I can help people steer towards tasting better wine. When you take your white wines and you warm them up just a bit out of the refrigerator, they're going to taste a lot more full-bodied. You're going to get a lot more fruit flavor. When your red wines, you don't want them sitting on the countertop at 80 degrees. You want them right around 55 to 65 degrees. So put them in the refrigerator for a bit, chill it down, bring it back up, and that'll get all that fruit flavor back with you. You won't burn your face off.
Everyone that drinks wine right now is like, oh my gosh, grab a pen, write that down. This is the great things that you, my wine-loving friends, will learn when you come out to Scarborough Renaissance Festival and have some wine. Now, what have you brought for us today? We brought pretties.
This week we're trying wines down under, or actually wines of the Southern Cross if you want to be accurate. I'm going to take you on a trip from New Zealand, South Africa, and Australia. So these 3 wine-producing countries have some amazing wines, all the product of immigration from the old world. So these are what we call New World wines. Now the grapes are all sourced from originally back. They came with the various colonists from all over the place, from the Dutch in the case of the South Africans, and from the New Zealanders and the Australians from the British Isles that brought their European grapes. So we're going to start in New Zealand. One of the most famous New Zealand grapes that they really put their stamp on the world, Sauvignon Blanc. They have this amazing white wine style that is this cool maritime growing region. You see, they're basically 2 big islands. That means everywhere is in contact with the sea. Nice, cool evenings, warm, sunny days makes beautiful, long ripening without over ripening.
Okay.
So that gives us this nice, sharp, acidic wine. So everybody grab your wine glass like this.
Everybody pretend you haven't already had
That's
a sip.
right. Remember, we hold our wine glass by the stem.
Oh.
Right? This keeps the wine from getting too warm.
All right.
This is how you look like a professional. By holding your wine glass by the stem. You swirl it around like this. That releases smells and aromas. Helps oxygenate the wine. Then we take a nice big smell. Hold it. Breathe out through your mouth. And what do you smell? Does it smell like herbs or flowers or minerals or grass or fruit? What do you smell? Now I'm waiting for somebody to say it. There's a smell in here that oftentimes is associated with a very odd smell.
Is it grass?
It's grass or almost
I
like
smelled it.
or a chlorophyll thing. Often Sauvignon Blanc wines will also either have a grassy kind of note or sometimes down a tropical fruit flavor note. They also can have some very high acidic notes that remind us of ammonia. So you might get somebody calls it a gooseberry if they're very polite, cat pee if they're not very polite.
Oh, no.
Yes, but believe me, the wine will taste wonderful either way. So go ahead and take a sip. Now sip like this. Sip a little bit into your mouth. Swirl it around so it touches all parts of your cheeks and tongue. Hold it for just a moment. Swallow, then breathe in through your mouth and out through your nose. The opposite you did with the smell, like this. Right? So now we're warming up all the wine. We're getting to touch all the senses in our mouth. Remember, our nose tells us aromas and tells us identification of flavors. Our mouth tells us intensity. Sweet, salty, sour, bitter, temperature, texture. Now, where do you feel it most on your mouth? In your tongue.
My tongue.
Yeah.
Where on the tongue? Side. Yeah, it makes your mouth water, right? This is a high acid wine. That high acid produces saliva, helps clean our palate, and makes it wonderful with partners with food. That's why cheese and wine and food and wine are natural partners.
You're the most fascinating person I've met in like 2 months. None of my wine tasting friends ever tell me to do all of that.
That's the first time. It's what we call a wine handshake. You want to take all that time, right? Let your mouth really feel what's going on. And you watch people who really like wine, they're constantly swirling and smelling, and they'll sip every now and again, but they swirl and smell. They're constantly getting information about the wine as it changes.
I'm so going to be watching it.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, we just drank.
Right, but you're missing the...
I know.
Yeah, generally speaking, as a wine starts to open up out of the bottle, I just opened up this bottle, you start to get evaporation and oxidization. And that's natural and part of the wine process. But generally speaking, a wine's going to come to its kind of full body, especially a light white wine like this, within a few minutes. Right, just swirling around 15 minutes or so, it's going to be at its peak. Well, like if you had a big aged red that had been sitting in the bottle for 20 some odd years, you're going to want to take and put that in a decanter and get the air on it for a couple of hours. There's a lot of volatile compounds that get trapped in there. Something interesting to note here about all these wines, though, you'll also notice that all of these wines have stelvin enclosures. Well, pardon me there. Or what we call them.
Enclosures.
Stelvin. Yes, if you're really fancy. Or a screw top.
Screw top.
Yes. So, I mean, this right here is an amazing technology that had a stigma against it for a lot of time.
Yeah, because you always hear the screw top's not good, but that's good.
As an entire nation, a lot of New Zealand did, and then both Australia. Australia, you'll still see both, but you'll still see both in South Africa. But what this actually does is it's 100% hygienic. Corks have a problem, and they come from a tree, the bark of the Quercus oak. And because of that, they can get bacteria that can grow inside them and then cause problems with your wine. About 3% of all wine can be what we call corked. It's why the sommelier smells the cork before he presents it with the glass, by the way. But when the wine goes bad, you don't want if you're a producer, you don't want your wine going poor in the bottle. You want to make sure it gets to the people fresh. This is 100% hygienic. Now, it doesn't breathe like a cork does, so many aged wines won't use technology like this.
Okay.
But if a wine has a screw cap like this, it means it's ready to be consumed immediately, and it means you can be assured that you're not going to have any problems with taint in your wine.
And who doesn't love wine that is ready to be consumed immediately, Flynn?
You all should help yourselves here. I brought you some fun cheeses and such, so you should try some of these with each of these wines.
So this is the Goose Bay.
Yes, Goose Bay.
Sauvignon Blanc. What's the best pairing food for that?
Honestly, if I had to pick any one thing, this is a seafood friendly wine.
Okay.
But notice when you have seafood, whether it's shrimp or shellfish or just a good slab of fish, they're going to serve you with a piece of lemon. It replaces the lemon on that. This is that nice squeeze of fresh lemon.
When you give this to your friends, skip the lemon and tell them, no, have a glass of wine.
Have a glass of wine. It makes a perfect substitution.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
All right, well, I think you have proven that everyone needs to go to Scarborough Renaissance Festival for one of their wine tastings with you, Flynn.
Absolutely.
Because this has been so much fun. And I seriously learned more today than probably, my junior year in like 3 classes all combined.
Well, I live to educate and I live to drink, so I'm glad to have shared it with you.
You've been at Scarborough Renaissance Festival for a couple of years.
Oh, yes. So this is my 11th year teaching the wine tasting and my 17th year hosting the festival.
For people that are going, tell me about some more of your friends there, people they need to meet and see.
The festival itself is amazing. I mean, we're 40 acres, hundreds of shops, and over 20 plus stages. There's everything to do from eating and drinking to entertainment and shopping. My friend Seamus hosts a tasting just like I do, but instead of for wine, for beer. He is a certified Cicerone.
Cicerone?
Yes, a Cicerone is the same level of education as I am in wine. He is in beer. Okay. He will teach you about beers of the world just like I will about wines of the world. So from our local Texas beers to amazing beers from Germany, from England, and all across the world, he teaches you about beer tradition. And it's a fantastic load of fun. It's basically, we are partners in crime, just different beverages.
Just a big party.
Oh, it's a fantastic party.
Now, if you're under the age of, 15, what's your part about it?
Oh, under the age of 15, there's lots for kids to do. We've got rides, we've got the joust, it's very popular. I particularly like the petting zoo because there's a very large fuzzy cow that sits next to my vinery.
Okay.
He's actually kind of nice. And then there's axe throwing. I mean, who wouldn't want to arm their child with an axe and have them learn to throw it?
I can't wait, actually.
Yes. But if
my
that,
10-year-old
and
would
if
love
that
that.
terrifies you, we also have the alternative version. We have safer swords. Just great foam swords to buff each other, and you just wear your children out before you take them home.
Fantastic.
Yeah, we'll keep you busy.
So don't remember. I love to give you lots of edit points, don't I? So remember, Scarborough Renaissance Festival in Waxahachie. The season's going on right now. Wine tasting. What's the beer thing again?
The certified Cicerone.
This is certified Cicerone is going
Yes,
to be there, and
my
you can
friend
give your
Seamus.
kid an axe. You definitely want to go.
Well, we'll see you there.
Cheers.
Proper way to hold a wine glass. There's 3 parts: a bowl, a stem, and a base. We do not hold the wine glass by the bowl. You are not some heathen king of old. You keep your hot, greasy fingerprints off the bowl of my wine glass. Why? Because your wine is always cooler than your body temperature. Right? No matter whether it's red, white, or otherwise, it's going to be too cold for you to touch it this way. You're also going to be looking through the wine glass, so you don't want fingerprints on it. You want to hold the wine glass by the stem. I usually use a thumb and 3 fingers. I wrap a pinky underneath for a nice firm grip. Just think about this. Every time you grab a wine glass by the bowl, somewhere a stripper falls off a pole. So think of the strippers. Keep your hands on the stem.